Hello, Googlization Nation. Welcome to Connect and Protect, a GGG Unleashed podcast, sponsored by our partner Ivanti, who makes the everywhere workplace possible. I'm Ira Wolf.
And I'm Jason Cochran. In each Connect and Protect episode, we will talk with Ivanti's digital employee experience thought leaders who are helping organizations worldwide connect employees and customers in our new anytime, anywhere workplaces without sacrificing security. Let's begin.
So we talked a lot about connecting. We talked on how do we connect with people and how do they actually communicate. But what are some of the technologies that are needed or that are necessary to make the everywhere workplace work?
Today's environment is not only creating that excellent digital experience for the employees, but the safest possible for the larger enterprise. If you were to gather a group of CIOs or chief information security officers, CISOs in a room, 99 out of 100 would tell you security is their top concern. Not long after that would be employee experience and overall, providing an excellent digital workspace. But because security is so important, and we all know why, you can open a paper on a daily or weekly basis and see another challenge with cyber terrorism. Because of that, you need to have complete grip on all of your assets, meaning all of your hardware that's distributed around the world, the software on those assets, your ability to onboard new assets and safely release assets off of your network. All of that requires outstanding IT solutions management. So you not only have to have a real-time understanding of all of the devices, the software, how well are they patched, meaning are they up to security standards and so on, but you have to do so on a real-time basis. So obviously platforms like Ivanti provide the technology and the platforms with which to do so. At the same time, as we talked about with service management, being able to very efficiently manage those devices. For example, we're very quickly exiting a period where employees are responsible for recycling their hardware so that it can patch up appropriately. Now, on the Ivanti platform, that can be done automatically in the background versus asking the employee to stop what they're doing and recycle, reload, reboot a machine so that it can patch up all its solutions. And so there is a whole new era of IT solutions that are providing more and more protection and efficiency so that devices, security, service can all be managed in a single platform in a unified fashion.
There's also a lot in the news every day about hacks, loss of personal information. How can Ivanti help, or what can companies do to minimize hacks, minimize those threats, but also help the employees protect themselves?
Yeah, great question. So look, I mean, on the Avanti platform, obviously that's one of the things we pride ourselves on is absolutely protecting against your common hacks and so on. So the solutions themselves, that's why it sells, right? Is because of the amount of protection that we can give devices and individual employees against hacks. We have an event we call Patch Tuesday, right? Which is where all of the various customer IT teams and in the 40,000 customers we have around the world will log in and hear our product management leaders from our patch solutions and overall asset management solutions. Will provide updates on what are the latest trends out there from a hack perspective. And here are the fixes. And here are here's what you need to be in tune with. Even a lot of our competitors will attend Patch Tuesday just because it's an excellent platform for sharing information. So on the one hand, there is a vigilant amount of work being done to stay ahead of the hacks, but you and I both know, Ira, these bad actors are sneaky and they are nonstop. So the other element that I think IT departments and companies around the world need to take into consideration is training your people, right? Training to recognize this email doesn't look right. This link seems a little fishy, right? And just constantly training like never before on security against hacks. Look, my employee base has been hit with text messages of people posing as me, asking them to contribute gift cards, and I'll get a response, Jeff, this doesn't seem like you. It's not me. So there's this balance between obviously your solutions footprint and the policies and the training with which you raise the awareness of your employee base.
I think the last one for me centers around thinking through how many people now are on their phones. Jeff, what might be some of the more sophisticated or new type of threats and risks that leaders may not be aware of or that they're thinking of yet that are going to be part of the future of work, knowing that more people may be working from mobile devices in particular in different places of the world on who knows what type of networks around the world.
Yeah, a great point, Jason. And look, this is a matter of keeping up, right? Again, that the cyber terrorists are constantly looking for new ways and new angles with which to entice employees to slip up, to share credentials, to forward emails from internal company messaging, and so on. And a lot of it now is coming through text, which I think we can agree is ubiquitous around the world now. People are familiar with texting, even in the work that they do. I text with my team all the time, and occasionally I'll get a very fishy text from an external source that is trying to pose as something official, whether it's from a vendor or supplier and so on. That is going to continue, and you're going to see it increase. And again, it's a matter of staying vigilant and training your employees to recognize what is fishy and what should be reported to the IT and the security teams, because we're actually working with a lot of device manufacturers to embed our patch solutions and our overall asset management and security solutions inside the device. So to provide embedded protection before the device ever reaches the consumer or the worker. But again, it's a race. It's a race to stay ahead of the variety of activities and experimentation that the bad actors are trying out there. So again, it's a combination of making sure that you're investing properly to protect all of your devices and training your people on what to look for.
So if I'm the one of the leaders in a small, mid-sized company, which are a lot of our listeners, can you share what are the first, I guess, three or four steps in this process? What would you do first?
Yeah, I think first step for any business going into 2023 is inventory your endpoint management solutions within your IT stack, your security solutions within your IT stack, your service management solutions, right? That full IT security and solutions view. Can I inventory all of my devices in real time? Do I have a good grip on how protected they are? Do I know how my employees are onboarding and offboarding in the company and the network at any given time? And if you can say yes to those questions, you're starting from a good spot, right? But if you can't, that's where you need to look to invest very, very quickly. We're providing a solutions platform that does all of that in one package solutions called Ivanti Neurons. So I think first step is just inventorying and testing yourself against even good practice, not necessarily best practice, and making sure that you have your bases covered. From there, I mean, obviously, then wherever you have the gaps, you need to start evaluating your solutions and understanding that you may have to invest to improve your protection against security threats. And again, creating a proper digital experience for your employees, again, in the spirit of keeping your very best. Front and center is the issue of security, the amount of remote work that's being done now. As Jason was saying, the use of all kinds of devices now to get work done, including cell phones, digital devices of all kinds, including iWatches. Just understanding the dynamics amongst your workforce and the distributed, call it edge computing that's going on in your business. So it really begins with an evaluation, an assessment, and an investment plan to shore up your overall IT stack.
And you shared another example. I mean, you talked about the iWatch right there, but you also shared examples in the past, even smart appliances.
Yeah, I think certain industries are look the healthcare industry. There's so much connectivity amongst all of the equipment in a given hospital room now. Whether it's your heart monitoring devices or your breathing devices, they're all now IoT enabled, right? So the hospital has so much now to maintain and monitor and ensure is safe. In fact, Ira, you may or may not have seen that one of the most recent ransomware issues from a healthcare perspective caused a death. A bad actor got control of a hospital system. The hospital was not, did not pay the ransom, at least not at the speed with which the bad actor wanted. And unfortunately, a newborn baby died because the equipment was held in ransom and made unavailable to the hospital staff to save the child. So it's no joke. Not only the core devices that we all have to manage. But in some industries where all of these extended IoT devices are now part of the mix as well, it becomes an exponential challenge.
You talked a lot about the technology, what the first two or three steps would be. If you were to give advice to an organization, what are the two or three first things they should do to help create that hybrid culture or create a better employee experience? What would be 2 or 3 tips that you would give to a business leader about that?
As we discussed, the dynamics are changing all the time, and I think the first thing leaders need to do is touch base with their employees. An engagement survey is a wise thing to do. My first day as CEO in 2021, I did a CEO survey. And I kept it very simple. I asked the employee base, "What's on your mind? What do you think are 3 things that I should be doing right now?" It was incredibly insightful. It was all free form, so I had a lot of reading to do once the survey was complete. But it told me a tremendous amount about kind of the I'll call it the emotional state of the employees and the cultural state of the business. And I think that's a very wise thing to do is just kind of call a timeout and check in. If you haven't done this or you're not doing it on an ongoing basis, make sure that you do. Take the temperature of your company. It will tell you a tremendous amount you don't know. And then from there, again, I think next step is obviously taking that information and deciding what the top priorities are to address the weaker spots, whether it's cultural or productivity wise or just overall communication wise. But then step 2 to me is retreading your management model. And as we discussed, getting together your leadership team, starting with the executive team, working on, again, cascading communication, frequency of touch points with the larger team, breaking down inadvertent virtual silos that are occurring because we're all remote, and understanding that this is now part of the job. Obviously, the fiduciary results we're all responsible for, but it's also creating harmony and a positive culture and an employee culture. Look, the fact is, going forward, whereas businesses perhaps over the last, I don't know, 40, 50 years have not had to lean too hard into the employees, you do now. You do, if you're going to keep the best possible talent. So creating that employee mentality. And look, the balance has shifted from the corporation to the individual talent. And if you don't recognize that and you're not measuring where you are, changing your management model and making strides toward greater cultural connectivity with your entire employee base, you're going to be in trouble.
And if you were to look into your crystal ball, where are we going to be in 2023? What do you see coming down the pike?
I think employees are going to settle in. I do. I think they're going, I mean, obviously the economic headwinds would suggest that the amount of transition that employees are going to make from one company to the other is going to slow down, I would expect. But I also think that because we're all now working on creating a better cultural environment, more flexible environment for our employee base, understanding what really makes them tick, and it's not just, again, promotions and money and so on. It's a lot more than that. I think employees and companies are going to settle in and find a balance. By the end of 2023, the companies that are thriving are going to understand just how important that is. Next, I think as a business community, we're all going to get smarter about security. We're all going to invest more and more in our not only understanding our sort of our digital footprint and where all our devices and our security potential weaknesses are, but we're going to raise our games and we're going to collaborate more across industries to protect against these bad actors. And I think this is going to be a year with which we have some breakthroughs in terms of creating greater and greater security, not only from a private sector, but the public sector as well. There's a lot of initiatives coming out of Washington and other governments around the world that would suggest everybody's got to raise their game and cooperate. So I think those are 2 big ones. Employees are going to settle in, cultures are going to become more employee centric. And as a business community, we're going to create greater and greater security.
That's it for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in and learning how to stay connected and protected in the everywhere workplace. We'll be back next month with another episode of Connect and Protect. But until then, you can learn more about Ivanti and the everywhere workplace by visiting their website, avanti.com. Until next month, don't let the shift hit your plans.